Hey everyone, it's me, Ethan here, back at it again with another video. Today we're going to be reviewing the HistoBrick SS Edmund Fitzgerald. Today being November 10th, 2025, marks the 50th anniversary of the tragic loss of the ship, as well as all 29 men aboard it as well. So with that being said, guys, let's get right into the review. All right, so to start things off, we have the HistoBrick box. As you can see, this is a very nice box. It is made out of bamboo wood. And they also engraved the HistoBrick logo into the box, which is really nice. And then to open this up, all you gotta do is just slide the top off like so. And there we are. Now we have inside. Now inside the box, what we'll find, we have the instruction manual, of course, which is very nice. And we'll touch base on that here in a second. You get some baggies, which are nice like fabric bags. I have a tie rope that they come in, and there's about 3 of those. And then they also give you a nice tag, which you can see on the tag here. It's pretty much just an article of kind of material that you would put like on your luggage or something like that on a ship, which is pretty cool. They put here is the Edmund Fitzgerald is the material. It's checked by Thomas Wilbert, who is the designer of this kit, and then the date that I believe is either was looked at or when I ordered it. So, which is pretty cool. And then they also have a little thing in here that tells you, thanks you for your support of HistoBrick. And on the back here, they say if you have any questions on how to contact them, which is pretty cool. And that wraps up the box. Now we have the instruction manual for the HistoBrick kit here of the SS Edmund Fitzgerald. As you can see, it's very nicely printed. The quality is really nice. And then just to give you an idea, inside here gives you some information about the Great Lakes Shipwreck Museum, which if you guys haven't been up there, it's at Whitefish Point. It is very nice. I've been there a couple times, and if you're really big into history, especially in shipwrecks in the Great Lakes, it's very cool to check that out. I got a bunch of stuff on the Edmund Fitzgerald itself and other wrecks that have happened in the Great Lakes, since there has been supposedly over 6,000 shipwrecks in the Great Lakes, which is crazy to think. But you can see here, you got some nice printing quality with the instructions here, which are really nice. And then the further you go into here, they also give you the history of the Fitzgerald. So like in the beginning, it was saying like general information of when it was built and all that, and who built it. And then at the end of the instruction manual, they actually give you the story of the fateful night of the ship's demise, sadly, where all 29 men sadly lost their lives. But that pretty much wraps up the instruction manual. All right, now we're on to the actual model that everyone's been looking at, which is the SS Edmund Fitzgerald, which is really cool. It's a really intricate little build, but at the end of the day, the way that HistoBrick was able to make this thing and it works is awesome. To start things off here, we have the Whitefish Point Lighthouse, which is also where the Great Lakes Historical Shipwreck Museum is, but they made a little model of the lighthouse, as you can see, and it looks really nice, and it really captures the likeness of it. And now we have the actual ship. This ship is built in a 1 to 430 scale, so obviously it had to be shrunk very much, since the real ship was 729 feet long, which is crazy to think about, but it is pretty cool. Start things off, we'll take a look at the bow here. As you can see, they use a lot of cheese slopes here and some curved pieces to really get the look of the bow coming to a point, which is really cool. We have first of the 2 printed pieces here, which is, of course, the Edmund Fitzgerald name, and that's on both sides of the bow. And then, as you can see on the bottom here, we also use some of the rail pieces to fix that front part, which is really cool. And coming up to the deck house here, very nicely detailed. Got a translucent 1x2 piece here acting as the pilot house, and then we also have a bendable tube on the top here to act as more of the greeblings that were on top of the ship. I guess it would be like the watch nest, which is pretty cool. Then on the back here, we got some grill pieces as well as some space to act as different decks, which is really cool. And that pretty much wraps up the bow portion with the deck house. Then coming to the next part here, we have this little white scaffolding piece, I guess to call it, which I was searching all day and night to figure out what this was. And my educated guess after not finding anything is it was a way to actually lift the hatch covers off of the to access into the where the ore was held, into the cargo bay, which I was actually try to figure out, but it was my logical guess, and I believe that's it, because looking at pictures of it on the real ship, it's not like a walkway or anything like that. It looks, again, just like a scaffolding, and just seeing how it sit over the hatch covers here, I would believe it is what it does. It takes the hatch covers off, which is pretty cool. So the instructions call it to put it here, but sometimes, especially you'll see in images of the Fitzgerald, it's normally placed on the back towards the stern. But again, it is movable, so that would be the first play feature of this set. Coming down here, as we look further down the spar deck, as you can see, we have a total of 21 hatches. One of them is just covered up by the little white scaffolding piece that I was just talking about. But it's really cool. It's very accurate. I believe the ship did have a total of 21 hatches. So that's very nice detail, at least for accuracy purposes. And then you can also see on the sides here of the ship, we do have more railing pieces, which actually act as the railings that would be on the ship, which is pretty cool. And then come to the bottom here, we have it where the belly of the ship is painted, you could say, in nice bright red. Since the actual ship, this is what it did look like underneath it, which is pretty cool. Again, another attention to accuracy there. And then coming down to the stern here, we have the propeller, which is just used by the golden flower piece. And then our last little feature of this kit, which is where the rudder can go side to side. Now, since we're on the stern here, as you can see, it is very nicely detailed. There is a lot more stuff going on back here. As you can see, we have the smokestack with another printed piece, 2 pieces actually, of the star with the C on it. We also got the other 2, which is on the bottom here of where it says Edmund Fitzgerald. Again, both sides of the stern are the same, so nothing really crazy going on, as you can see, but we do have some nice little details on the top here of the deck house on the stern to act as some cargo, or there's tanks. There's tanks on the top of the ship, so these little black pieces here act as those little details. We have these little black guns that act as, I would say, cranes. Have this 1x1 red piece that is just there for more detail. Also, you could interpret it as a raft. That would be one of those rafts that would pop up from the ship. And then we also have a little ingot piece here that acts as the lifeboats, which is really cool. And on the back here, you can also see, again, we use the more sloped pieces, turning into cheese slope pieces to get that somewhat accurate shape of the back of the ship, which is really cool. As well as we can see down here, we got some more angled pieces to really capture the look of the rear of the stern, which is really good. They really nailed it with this. Well, guys, that wraps up today's review on HistoBrick's SS Edmund Fitzgerald kit. If you like what you see, definitely hit that thumbs up for the video here. If you're new to the channel and like seeing content like this, where I go over pretty much sets and kits that include Lego, might not be directly affiliated with Lego, definitely hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments down below, guys, on what else you would like to see. As I mentioned earlier, I do have the author M. Anderson, which I'll do a review on that in the future here. But let me know if you want to see anything else that HistoBrick has to offer. But one thing I want to close out with this video, guys, is, again, this is the 50th anniversary of the Edmund Fitzgerald sadly sinking. A tragedy that we will never fully understand. There's only a handful of things to base things off of, since you can't really go diving to the wreck anymore since 1995, I believe, since Canada has marked it as a burial ground, since it does, the wreck sits on their coastline, but we'll never know. The only theories we have is that it scraped the bottom and put a gash in her, which just led for more water to get into her hull. We have other ones where a giant wave just hit the back of the ship and caused her to nosedive completely into the water, and that she broke up on the surface, which is the last one that a lot of people say is what caused her to sink, is that she broke up at the surface and sadly sunk that way. But we'll never know. We don't really have any answers nor eyewitness accounts of what happened, sadly. So that's the only haunting thing about this shipwreck, is that we'll never know. We'll never know, sadly, how it met its demise. But with that being said, guys, we do want to remember the 29 men that were in this boat that lost their lives. And that is the takeaway I want you guys to remember about this ship. More than anything else, it's just the tragedy that happened. With that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.